Hey friends, Alvis here. This is the Earthen Bulwark 2.5 build, so this is post-patch. Probably want to see some gameplay, so let's kick it off with a level 81 Nightmare Dungeon. Now, we've made some pretty big changes to the build. The first one is to Masochistic. This affects all druids in the game. Previously, there was 100% chance of getting 3% of your maximum life. This was the main way druids got their healing. Well, unfortunately, it's now 75% chance, but more importantly, it's lucky hit. Good news for us, though, is Earthen Bulwark has a massive lucky hit chance. It's 30%. So it's not as effective as it was previously, but it's still very, very good. This also means that stats like lucky hit on your rings and on your gloves are now welcomed. Now, the biggest change overall was to the Symbiotic legendary aspect. The cooldown reduction used to be 12 seconds. On your amulet, it's now 8 seconds. 12 seconds was really important because if you've got Earthen Bulwark below 12 seconds, that meant that every time you used a storm ability and it triggered Nature's Fury, Earthen Bulwark would cast. So it would cast very, very quickly. So if you're curious why we do not have this on a two-handed weapon, well, you would still need a whole heap of cooldown reduction that previously would come from a totem. On top of this, cooldown reduction has been nerfed a lot. Nature's Fury is going to take 2 procs from storm skills to be effective. On the positive note, though, it now opens up the cooldown reduction slot that we previously had on our helmet and on our amulet to replace something else. So we can go damage reduction, which is a lot more important. Get rid of all your cooldown reduction, but you do want to have storm cooldown reduction on your gloves. That way, Cyclone Armor is also 16 seconds. So you can bounce off both of these at the same time. This is really, really important. You're going to get a huge amount of damage increase off this. Now, the Crone Staff is by far the best in slot item, unfortunately, because of its rarity, but it is. It's the best in slot item rather than the Butcher's Cleaver and a totem. Now, the big changes that we made is we've actually dropped Blood Howl. Previously, we wanted the attack speed bonus. Currently, the game is super reliant on damage reduction, and because of the nerfs, we have to stack more heavily into this. By the way, you can still kick it in level 80 to level 90 Nightmare Dungeons fine. Whereas the Tornado build, they're hurting a lot, unfortunately. By the way, the builds aren't fucking football teams. I see a lot of people like celebrate a certain build getting nerfed or something like that. Guys, if a build gets nerfed, then no one gets to play that build. No one wins. So we got rid of Blood Howl with the attack speed and we've replaced it with Debilitating Roar. We were previously running Debilitating Roar, but now it is absolutely essential. So we're going to put 3 points into Pulverize. So 1 point into the main skill. We're using it as a utility. We want to work our way up to Primal Pulverize. Enemies hit with Pulverize deal 20% reduced damage for 4 seconds. So when we're playing, we're going to use Pulverize on the enemies. It's got a great AoE effect too, so it's going to be able to affect most of the monsters in the close range where you'll be playing with the Bulwark build, but it also allows us to use Iron Fur. So you gain 9% damage reduction while in werebear form, but this persists for 3 seconds after leaving the werebear form. So we got 20% damage reduction from Pulverize, and we get 9% damage reduction for 3 seconds after. Also keep in mind that Iron Fur is affected by Debilitating Roar. It will actually stack with a diminishing return. Okay, so we've just jumped into a level 79 dungeon. I'm going to show you how effective the build still is and also show you just the new gameplay style and how it works. So we've got a pretty big mob here. We're going to cast Debilitating Roar. just for the extra defense. And now we're going to use Pulverize, okay? So we just Pulverize once. We're going to get all that awesome damage reduction. We get healing as well. We don't care about our spirit too much because it comes back up straight away. Now you can also see just how effective it is when Cyclone Armor is at the same cooldown as Earthen Bulwark. It is, again, so important now because you're able to proc it more consistently. So we're going to jump in, use Debilitating Roar. We're going to wait for it to finish its cycle. I mean, it's only 79, so we're not in too much of a threat. But yeah, I'm just going to drop Pulverize like that. Kill everything. So how does Earthen Bulwark still stack up compared to all the other builds in the game? It's still the best build in the game, comparatively, because of how hard all the other builds got nerfed. We are expecting a day one patch when the new season starts, or possibly a patch a couple of days after. I can confirm that the damage from Earthen Bulwark still scales with the monster level, pending that the damage scaling with monster levels does not get changed before then. But in the meantime, this is the best way to play the character. See you in the next one. Bye, friends.